All right. Moving on to our next Patreon request, and this one comes from Hunter Johnson, who asked me to do a fun little fan fiction idea involving the future marriage of Dipper and Wendy from Gravity Falls. So, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the second tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, hope you all enjoy this, and let's get started with the video. So, our story is set in the distant future. Everyone's older. We've gone through the trials of what happened in the series, and Dipper and Wendy have basically been together for the longest time. They're now in like their mid to late 20s. They're both in their mid to late 20s. And Dipper has long been. He's now abandoned the name, the nickname. He's now gone by Mason, and in this time frame, he's basically grown up to be a horror author. He's like the next Stephen King or Clive Barker, where he's been writing all these, books, and some of them have gotten movie deals. And yes, a lot of them are inspired by his time in Gravity Falls, but in that time since, he also was a paranormal investigator, as well as like he and his sister kind of did the whole Sam and Dean thing for a bit and hunted monsters for a while. So he's based a lot of those adventures off of a lot of these books off of those adventures. Wendy, on the other hand, has put out a pretty good life for herself as well. She's now the head of a logging company in Oregon, and she's basically been making a good amount of money. They're pretty well off. Like, they're pretty rich. Like, they've done pretty well for themselves, and they haven't been married yet. Like, they've been living together for about 5 years now, but they haven't really like tied the knot yet. However, that has been on Mason's mind for the longest time. Like, he has really actually wanted to settle down with Wendy. He's been that's been on his mind since day one. But he's been kind of he's worried about like the rejection, because he knows Wendy's a person you don't tie down. He knows that Wendy isn't a person that you really tie down or try to try to say, hey, let's get married. He's also worried that he's just not gonna stack up. Like, he's just not gonna do well as a husband as well. So he calls Stan, and Stan and Ford have basically been living in Gravity Falls, retired for the longest time. And Stan, he calls Stan, he's like, hey, Stan, I got a question for you. And he's like, if it's about embezzling funds, I highly recommend you don't do it, or at least be good at it if you are. And he goes, no, listen, Stan, I'm thinking about marrying Wendy. And he stops for a second, he's like, huh. And you called me? And he's like, yeah, I know, a very poor choice on my part. And he's like, well, kid, my marriages never did well. But, I say go for it. You love her? And he goes, yeah, all my heart. And he's like, go for it. And he's like, you're a better man than I ever was, than I ever am. And you do love her, and she loves you. So I say, go for it. Though, speaking from experience, he basically says, it's all love and roses and hugs, and then the next day you're handcuffed to a radiator and your car's gone. And he goes, yeah, I should have called someone else. And he's like, see you at the wedding, kid. Stan hangs up. So Dipper's next person to go to is, of course, Mabel. Now, Mabel has been still living in California, whereas Dipper and Wendy, they moved to Oregon. They aren't living in Gravity Falls. They're living in Portland. But Mabel remained in California, but not in Piedmont. She's actually living now in San Francisco. So Mason calls her next, and he's like, hey, so I'm thinking about marrying Wendy. And she's like, you talked to Stan first, didn't you? And he's like, yeah. Now, Mabel is she's now an artist. She's now like a one of those kind of like West Coast, like bizarre art kind of person. And she's basically doing this, having these she's painting and whatnot. Some of her art, though, it ranges from beautiful to like monstrous, because this is how she like deals with all the monster stuff that she dealt with her brother in that time frame. So Mabel's like, you love her. So I have been I've already like been planning for this day since you guys first met all those years ago. So go for it. So Dipper agrees, and he's like, I feel like I should call someone else, but it feels like I'm just going to get the same answer. So that night, he's kind of like in his study, like holding this engagement ring, and he's like, I don't know if I can like do this. Like I need to go through this. And he hears like a voice in his head go, yeah, you're gonna fuck it up like everything else in your life. And he turns around, and the reflection is Bill. And he's like, get the fuck out of here, Bill. You are long dead. And he's like, I'm a cosmic being. I can't die, kid. What made you think that I was just gonna go away and leave you behind, Pine Tree? And he's like, my name's not Pine Tree anymore, and this is a hallucination. He's like, is it? Am I a manifestation of your insecurities, or is it the real deal? Come on, kid. Come on, kid. You know as well as I do that I couldn't just go away, right? And Dipper's like, so let me get this straight. You come all this way to just torment me about my indecision about marrying the woman I love? And he's like, correct. I may not be as powerful as I was, but hey, I could still I know how to get at you, kid. And he's like, yeah, you do. Like how you got at me and possessed me. How you nearly made me kill my friends and family. How you tormented me. And he's like, and Bill's like taken aback, like, whoa, you are not the same scared little sweaty kid I remember all those years ago. He's like, that kid is long gone. You're dealing with the man now. And he's like, you were thinking that, you were waiting to use that line, weren't you? He's like, shut up. Shut up, you little triangle. The point is, I'm not scared of you. And since I've met you, I encountered some real nightmares. Like, I saw stuff that would make you want to crawl back in your mom's womb. You do not scare me anymore, Bill. And in fact, why are we having this conversation? You're dead, and I'm done talking to ghosts. So it turns out, yeah, that was not Bill. That was just, Mason's insecurities manifested as Bill. So the reflection goes back to him, and Wendy's like, hey, I was going to ask what you wanted for dinner, but I saw you talking to yourself. And he's like, oh, just working out some dialogue for a new book. And she goes, uh-huh. What do you want for dinner? And he's like, actually, can we postpone the dinner talk for a minute? And she's like, yeah, what's up? And he goes, listen, I've been thinking about something for the past few weeks, and I need to ask you a question. And she's like, okay. He gets on his knees like, Wendy Corduroy, will you please marry me? And she's like, hell yeah. And he goes, really? I was kind of expecting more pushback. And she goes, we've been together for we've been together since you were 15. We've been together since you were 15, dude. I have been planning this, and I've been waiting for this since for years. In fact, I am shocked that it took you this long. He's like, yeah, well, I kind of figured, this would be harder. This would be I was going to expect some pushback, and he's like, and she goes, or you thought Bill was going to come back and torment you. And he goes, oh, so you heard the whole thing. He's like, yeah, I was standing there the whole time. You were having a trauma episode. You were having a trauma episode, weren't you? He's like, oh yeah, I should really see I should really see a therapist. And Wendy's like, we should all see a therapist. So she's like, and he's like, so you want to? Is the answer still yes? And she's like, yes, you idiot. So, they announced to everyone, hey, we're finally getting married. And they're just calling everyone. They are just calling everyone, telling them they're married. And Stan's like, congrats, kid. I hope it goes better than my marriages. And they go, yep, we will not be we won't be. We're going to learn not to do what you do, Stan. He goes, harsh but fair. So everyone's there. So the wedding is planned in Gravity Falls. They decided we're going to hold the wedding in where we first met. So they actually hold it at the Mystery Shack, which has been still run by Seuss. And it's not just everyone in Gravity Falls who shows up, except Robbie, who's, he's not invited. In fact, he, shows up at the wedding, and they're like, oh, Mr. Valentino, it's good to see you. Mr. Pines would like to speak to you. And Dipper just walks up and punches him in the face. And he's just like, okay, I got that out. I might need to punch him every so often I see him, but, this is my therapy. And Wendy's like, our kids are going to be she's like, the sex we are going to have tonight on this honeymoon is going to be immaculate. When she sees him deck Robbie, she is like, I am going to take you to another plane of existence of pleasure after this whole wedding. And he's like, I should have married her sooner. So everyone's there. Even some of the magical creatures who befriend in Gravity Falls, like the gnomes and manitors, they show up for the wedding as well. And presiding over it is Mabel, who got her marriage license. It was forged thanks to Stan's help, but she basically is since I've known my brother, he has been, this sweaty, anxiety-ridden little bastard, but I love him, and by the power vested in me by whatever the universe is, I think God is a giant female rainicorn with a futanari, and they're like, Jesus Christ, Mabel! They're like, we need to get her off, Wendy's like, we need to get her off of Reddit. And she's like, I know. So they kiss, and Mabel presents as I now pronounce you Mr. and Mrs. Mason Pines. And it's a beautiful wedding. The reception goes well. Everyone gets absolutely shit-faced. And during the party, Wendy leans over to Mason and goes, you want to sneak out of here? It's already prepaid. And he goes, thank you. This suit is really itchy, and I'm sweating like a fucking pig in this thing. So they sneak off before anyone does the whole, throw rice or whatever for the bride and groom. And everyone's like, we're going to cut the cake. Where did they go? And that's Mabel gets a call on her phone. He goes, hey, we're going back to the hotel. So I hope that's cool, but we got other plans. He's like, don't wear yourself out. Hangs up. So there you go, guys. That is the story. I want to thank Hunter Johnson for this Patreon request as well as continued patronage. And you guys tell me in the comments below what you guys think of it. Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.